What's going on, y'all? It's me, it's Ricky Dominguez, and I'm back. This will be considered episode number 8. And the title of this is Calling Audibles, right? Calling Audibles. And if you're not familiar with what an audible is, I got familiar with it by watching Tom Brady and Brett Favre. And one thing that I was just so, thronged by, just so inspired by, and just so like tackled mentally, how they would come to the line. This is football, right? They're quarterbacks, they're leaders of their teams, right? They come to the line in a play. They've already decided within their mind. They've gotten with the offensive coordinator or what have you. I don't know the ins and outs of football. I'm a basketball player, right? But I do understand enough to know that they've gotten with somebody that has went over the game. They know what the tendencies is of the other team on what downs, right? So they come out there and they already have a play. Maybe they're 3rd and 8, third down. They got 8 yards to get a first down, right? They come out, they already have selected a play. But once Brett Favre and Tom Brady get to the line, right? They looking, they're aware, they're seeing the defense, the coverage, the way the men are positioned in the outfield, in the backfield, on the line, and they like, no, I don't like the way this looking, or this not gonna give us the best chance, or we weren't expecting this. Now we got to make some changes. So right then they begin to call out an audible, a different play. They're switching people. Hey, you come from over there and you come over here and block because this person is about to blitz. Or, oh my God, they're in a zone coverage. They're no longer in man-to-man coverage. Okay, I'm going to call audible, a different play on the spot to adjust to what I'm seeing now, to what's happening now. And I'm saying that to say, I'm a man of routine, right? So, I have a routine set. I stick by it. I truly feel and genuinely know that no routine equals no success. You have to have a plan, a strategy that is efficient, that corrugates, that leads to another act that makes it a smooth transition throughout the day and day by day in order to be successful, right? So with that, I'm saying I ended up noting some things within myself that I wanted to add to my routine, right? So I already have what I would consider was a packed schedule. But I said to myself, you know what, Ricky, you need to have a side hustle. If you want to build wealth, it's not enough. You're not pushing yourself enough. You're not doing enough, right? And that's just what successful people do. It's funny how you can have people who aren't doing as much and they couldn't care less. But then when you talk about those great people, those successful people, those people who want more, those people who live in a routine, who understand the importance of a routine, they want more. They figure that they should be doing more, even when they're doing the most. And I'm one of those people. And I'm happy to say that, I'm a high performer. That's just what I do. So I'm accepting it. But what I'm saying is, I noted that, okay, Ricky, you need to do a little bit more, and you can do a little bit more. So what I did was I prayed to God and I said, God, I see my schedule, but the only place that I feel like is sleep. Like I'm getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and I believe that I can do it on less, right? And I also injected, because I listen to a lot of Holy Spirit-led leaders and a lot of people who walking in their purpose, and they always mention as far as being a man, knowing how to fight. That was something that, I haven't had a lot of fights in my life, but I want that competence and that confidence that comes with knowing how to fight. So guess what I did? I joined a modern Kung Fu class, right? So now I've added that to my schedule on top of doing Babbel, trying to learn Spanish. So this has been a very full and fulfilling year. It makes me feel so good to know that I'm accomplishing these things. I'm doing what I said. So my confidence, my integrity within myself is high, which in turns make me feel great. And I'm a great man. I feel like I'm kingly. I'm pushing myself to my potential, right? So I'm saying this to say, so I've added Amazon blocks and I'm doing those in my free time. I've added karate, which Kung Fu, which is only on Fridays, from 6:30 to 7:30, personal training, right? And then I've also tried to begin to learn Spanish through Babbel, like slowly at a time. So I've injected these things into my already packed routine. So what happened was, I had to call an audible. Some things needed to be switched. And unknowingly to me, what ended up happening was I work overnight, as I've mentioned before. I work overnight, so that kind of, I liked it, that groove, because it put me at a different pace as the rest of the world, and a lot of things are not being bothered when I'm up. I'm able to catch Walmart at 6 a.m. because I'm up, before anybody gets in there. So I'm able to meander. I'm able to be focused. I'm able to be efficient in a lot of things that I do because most of the people just aren't up. I'm normally catching places when they first open, the DMV, Jewel, the gym. Not the gym. Not the gym. So, it's just things like that working overnight, it helped me with. Right? So, but now, because I've injected the Amazon blocks, which I normally was taking them after I get off work, what happened was I began to take an Amazon block. Say, for instance, I get off, I'm at home at 6 a.m. I'll take an Amazon block for 6 a.m. and I wouldn't be done till 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Sometimes I'll take an Amazon block at 11 o'clock. I wouldn't get done till 3. And then what I noticed was my body started saying, okay, what we're going to do is we want to stay up longer now. So I had to audible, I had to adjust. I had to start saying, okay, I'm going to sleep later to about 7:30 because I got to drive to work. But now you're no longer going to sleep like you used to when you got off work at 6 o'clock, right? And doing everything in the front of your day. So I used to get off work, eat, go to sleep, wake up at 4, go to the gym, stretch, pray, have my smoothie, and all before I got to work. So by the time I got to work, I was wide awake, but towards the end of the night, I was winding down, and by the time I made it home after the long drive, it was sleep time. So what I'm saying is I had to call an audible. So now it's completely different, right? What I do is now I sleep longer. The only thing that I do when I wake up is go to work. The judgment is still out on that because I'm not a morning person, right? It takes me a while to want to be bothered, but that long ride that I have kind of helps me. I'm able to pray and I'm able to spend some time with God and open my mouth and get to talking, because a lot of times I just want to stay in my head. But now I sleep longer, I wake up and I go to work, and the work is getting the first of my energy, not the best of it, but the first of it. I do everything with excellence, though. Let me not act like I'm not following my own protocol of how you do anything is how you do everything. I can't help but to perform. I can't help but to perform at this job. So I do the job thing. I get off. I might catch an Amazon block, or I might go to the gym. But what I've noticed is when I hit that gym, I'm no longer rushed like I was at 5 o'clock. I'm able to stay in there and get the gains, get that pump that I used to enjoy so much before. I was rushed to do it before work, which at the time I didn't even know I was rushed, but I just thought this was placed. But the biggest thing is that I've cut back on my sleep, and God has allowed it. 6 hours, that's enough. 7 hours, that's enough. I don't necessarily need 8 and 9 hours. I felt like I was overdoing the sleep part, and I'm listening. I'm waiting for God to say anything like pump your brakes or hold on, because that's most important. My health is most important, but I'm going to test it. I'm going to see. And what I'm saying is I had to call an audible. And sometimes in life we got to call audibles, and we can't just give up on things because they're not going the way that we said it. Or I could have chose to, hey, you know what? I already have a routine. I'm not going to hustle. I'm not going to add a side hustle to build wealth. I'm not going to take the modern kung fu class in order to build competence and confidence. I'm not going to take the Spanish class, spend the money, and spend that 30 minutes to an hour every 3 days or weekly just to brush up on my Spanish and try to learn another language. I could have chosen not to do those things because of my schedule, but instead I called an audible. I seen where I can insert things. I adjusted things. I moved things around to fit the things that's needed. And that right there is what life is about, calling audibles. Everything is not going to go the way that you want it to go all the time. There are different seasons for different things. And like I said, a high performer and being excellent in everything you do and wanting to get the most out of your time, the most valuable thing. Money is not time. People like to say time is money. That's a lie. Time worth is more than money, right? So I just wanted to say, be ready to call audibles, and not to get in your feelings about it, and not to be depressed because life is giving you a different situation, or you're wanting to inject some things. You can do it. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And I'm just learning more and more my strength and the power that worketh within me. You know, that I'm able to do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? I'm a king, you know, and discipline and self-control is part of that. You have to push your limits. You have to stretch yourself. You don't know unless you go, right? You won't know unless you try, right? You have to see. And had I not been able to go on less sleep, right, then I would have dialed it back. But you have to bump your head to know that it hurts, right? I may have did something and I could have tweaked it a little bit more. Okay, maybe I can't do this as much, you know, and the verdict is still out on that. But what I'm saying is I'm not scared to call audibles. And this gives me strength to know that, dang, Rick, you did that on 4 hours of sleep. Okay, now you need to adjust. Tomorrow you're going to get your sleep. You're going to do, you know, you have to adjust. Life is like that. And you only get this life to do these things, and you need to do those things. So I just want to remind y'all, be okay with calling audibles. My boy Brett Favre and Tom Brady, you know, I'm out here Tom Brady in it. But it was good to talk with y'all. I hope y'all understand call them audibles and run them plays. Do the things that you need to do to get the outcome that you're looking for. I like to say this, and I'm going to keep saying this, man. We were put here to serve our gifts to the world, to the people, in a way that pleases God. That's what you're here to do. All right, I'll check back in with y'all later. Holla.